You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Inside Out 2. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Inside Out 2 is a 2024 animated adventure film from PIXAR Studios. Directed by Kelsey Mann, this sequel follows joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust, who have been running a successful operation by all accounts. However, when anxiety shows up, they aren't sure how to feel or deal with these new emotions. The film stars the voice talents of Amy Poehler, Maya Hawke, Ayo Edebiri, Lewis Black, Phyllis Smith, and Tony Hale. So I absolutely adore Inside Out. It is one of my favorite Pixar films to date. I love it. I think it's amazing. It does everything you want a good Pixar film to do. So honestly, when they said we were getting an Inside Out 2, I was nothing but excited. Because Inside Out is one of those few cases that really is ripe to explore. You can do so much with this concept, with this idea. You're not limited to conventional storylines. And not only that, you can continue to explore new facets within this world, within this concept that bring up new ideas, new discussions in new inventive ways. And honestly, that's pretty much what I feel Inside Out 2 does. While I don't believe it's ever able to fully reach the magic of the original film, Inside Out 2 is a beautiful companion piece to that film that certainly stands on its own as another great entry in the Pixar filmography. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, as I alluded to in my opening, it's the messaging, it's the ideas, it's the concepts. Once again, we are dealing with quite complex emotional subjects here. This time, possibly even going deeper than we did in the first film, dealing with anxiety, for one, and the use of these emotions, the need for these emotions, the detriment of these emotions across the board. And it kind of helps to make sense of it all, even for adults, nevertheless, for younger audience members. I loved the introduction of our new emotions once we hit puberty, as they said in the first film. And particularly, I thought anxiety was a fantastic new character that is obviously so relatable to so many of us out here. And the way that anxiety is dealt with in the film is really strong, particularly once we get to the big climax of this movie. Oh, that's where it's going to get you in the feels. But it's not just anxiety we have to deal with, it's so many of these other emotions as well, and really kind of come to terms with the ideas of toxic positivity. We touch on that in the first film, and I think this film really expands upon that by the end in a beautiful way. The score is once again fantastic. I love the Inside Out score from Michael Giacchino, and I think this film expands upon the theme really nicely. The animation is once again absolutely stunning, beautiful, colorful, vibrant. The story itself is really investing. On top of being emotionally resonant, you are invested in what's happening to both Riley and to our groups of emotions. Amy Poehler is fantastic as Joy yet again. I thought Maya Hawke as Anxiety was fantastic as well. Ayo Edebiri was so fun in this film. Phyllis Smith is an icon as Sadness. So many of these performances are beautifully capturing these emotions. And speaking on those new emotions, I did like the other ones as well, other than anxiety. I thought that envy was really fun. Ennui was one speaking truly to my heart. And embarrassment. Oh, such a lovable goofball. And I love that we started to explore other parts of the mind and we really dealt with these ideas of the first film. As you're growing up, your adolescence, you're kind of building upon these things within yourself, but how they start to cement and form you as a full person as you grow older. And I thought that those were all handled really, really well. I love how these Inside Out films explore your mind and kind of create this world based on these ideas and these concepts. And it all is handled really, really well. And yeah, that third act, oh, it hits good. Nothing in this film is quite as emotionally devastating and just like sob worthy as several moments in the first film. But oh, that third act definitely got into my feels. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Inside Out 2? Well, I have to say it. My biggest negative, unfortunately, was the replacement voice cast because it wasn't as seamless as I had hoped, particularly with Disgust, who I love. I loved her in the first movie. I love her design. I've dressed up as Disgust. But it definitely felt like an imitation voice actor in here for Mindy Kaling. You could definitely tell it was not the same. Fear as well also just wasn't quite there. So I was like, oh man, two of our main characters. And honestly, it felt like they gave them more lines in this film than they did the first. And yeah, I don't know if that was the right decision. I also think that the world building wasn't as strong here. Now, I think part of it's intentional because, again, she's growing up, so it's not going to be as big and colorful and vibrant as it was in the first film. But all of these new places we're going to just didn't have the expansiveness that the first did. We really hit home this world building in the first film. And this one does. We go to new places, but they all feel rather small and almost barren in actual visual execution. And I think it's a little bit light on the laughs overall. I think it does a good job with messaging. I think it does a good job with characters and characterization. And again, it's easy to get swept up into the emotional content, but it's certainly not as funny as the first one. And we have a lot of comedians here. We have a concept with anxiety running amok that is actually ripe for comedy. And some of it works. There's definitely laughs to be had. But I guess maybe it was just my own expectation. I was hoping for it to be a little bit funnier. So overall, Inside Out 2 isn't as good as the first one, pretty much in any of the categories, but that bar was so impressively high, it's hard to expect a sequel to live up to one of my absolute favorite Pixar films. Instead, Inside Out 2 grows with Riley, grows with the audience, and gives us a slightly more mature look at the human experience. Hits home with so many different emotions and feelings and experiences that I know many of us can relate to, with poignant messages, lovely animation, and a story I was invested in start to finish. So if you enjoyed Inside Out, like me, you may not find this sequel to be as good, but I think you are really going to find a lot of value with Inside Out 2. So if you've been jonesing for a really good animated film, well, Pixar once again returns with the goods. I say rush out, check out Inside Out 2 in theaters. So that was my review for Inside Out 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Inside Out 2, or have you already checked it out? Let me know all of your thoughts and comments either in that comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.